Hello, everyone. How's it going? I'm Professor Crazy, a stand-up comedian, and today I'm here to take you on a hilarious journey through the world of dating app disasters. Who here has had a weird date from a dating app? Don't be shy, raise your hand. But don't worry, today's stories will have you laughing your socks off. So, our story begins in New York, the city that never sleeps but often has nightmares, especially about online dating. Our guy here is Jake. Jake is a programmer who spends more time dating his code than actual people. His friends suggested he try a dating app. So, Jake downloaded Tinder. Swipe left, swipe right. How does this work? Jake muttered, confused. Long story short, Jake matched with a beautiful girl named Ashley. Ashley's profile was amazing, with pictures of her doing yoga on the beach and a caption saying she loves traveling and healthy food. Jake fell in love at first swipe. They chatted, and Ashley invited Jake to dinner at a fancy vegan restaurant downtown. Vegan restaurant? All right, all for love, thought Jake. On the big day, Jake arrived dressed smartly, smelling so good his cologne could scare cockroaches a mile away. He walked into the restaurant and saw Ashley. But Ashley didn't look like her photos. Those were from 10 years ago when Ashley still did yoga. Now, she looked more like Yoda. But Jake, being a gentleman, didn't want to run away immediately. He thought, all right, let's give this a chance. They started chatting, and Ashley talked about her strict vegan diet. Jake just nodded, glancing at the menu filled with raw vegetables. The climax was when the food arrived. Jake, who had never eaten vegan food, tried it, and his reaction. He almost threw up. Imagine, a guy who usually eats double cheese pizza now had to eat salad without dressing. Total disaster. But the story doesn't end there. After dinner, Ashley invited Jake to her apartment. Jake, feeling hopeless, thought, at least there'll be some fresh air in the apartment. When they arrived, Jake was greeted by dozens of cats. Turns out, Ashley was a crazy cat lady. Cats were everywhere, even in the kitchen. Jake, who was allergic to cats, started sneezing uncontrollably. But to be polite, he stayed. Meanwhile, Ashley was busy showing off her cat collection, complete with each cat's life story. This is Fluffy, my savior when I broke up with my ex, said Ashley, hugging a fat cat with a face like a thief. Jake could only think, please God, take me now. Suddenly, one of the cats started scratching Jake's leg. Ouch! This is definitely a thief cat. Jake, who couldn't take it anymore, finally said goodbye. But the ordeal wasn't over yet, folks. Outside, Jake's car had a parking ticket for parking in the wrong spot. I'm done for. What a terrible day, Jake thought as he looked at the ticket. With mixed feelings, he took a taxi home, sneezing and thinking, why did I ever agree to this date? The story continues in Los Angeles. This time, our protagonist is Sarah, a career woman who is super busy and decided to try Bumble. She matched with a guy who seemed really cool, named Brad. Brad's profile was full of gym photos, mountain climbing, and a wide smile that could melt hearts. Sarah agreed to meet at a hipster cafe in LA. When they met, Brad looked very different from his photos. He was shorter, his hair was starting to bald, and he wasn't as athletic as in the photos. Turns out his profile photos were heavily photoshopped. Sarah, initially disappointed, tried to stay positive. They started chatting, and Brad began talking about his weird hobby of collecting garden gnome statues. Yes, you heard it right. Garden gnome statues. Brad started showing photos of his collection, and Sarah could only smile awkwardly, thinking, is this guy serious? Suddenly, Brad said he brought his favorite gnome statue and wanted to show it to Sarah. In a cafe? Seriously? Sarah thought. And sure enough, Brad pulled out a gnome statue from his bag and started a long story about its history. Sarah, who couldn't take it anymore, excused herself to the restroom and never came back. She escaped through the back door of the cafe. Sorry, Brad, but your gnomes aren't enough to keep me here, she thought as she jogged to the parking lot. She went home with mixed feelings of relief and embarrassment. Seriously, dating apps are like Pandora's box. You never know what you'll get. Now let's move to Seattle, the city famous for rain and coffee. The story is about Dave, a barista looking for true love on Tinder. Dave matched with a girl named Lily who loved traveling. They agreed to meet at the cafe where Dave worked. Great, no need to travel far, thought Dave. On the big day, Lily arrived with a huge suitcase. Is she planning to stay at the cafe or what? Dave wondered. Turns out, Lily had just come from the airport and headed straight to the cafe for their date. Wow, this girl is really enthusiastic, Dave thought, smiling. They chatted, and Lily began telling stories about her adventurous trip to India. But things got weirder when Lily started talking about her experience with a shaman in India who gave her a love potion. Seriously, a love potion? Dave thought, smirking. Lily actually pulled out a small bottle from her suitcase and offered Dave to try it. Oh no, how do I politely escape? Dave wondered. He politely declined. Finally, Dave excused himself, saying he needed to get back to work. But as he was about to leave, Lily suddenly said she planned to move to Seattle and needed a place to stay. Dave, shocked, thought, this girl isn't looking for a date, she's looking for a roommate. With various excuses, Dave managed to escape, and from then on, he started being more cautious with his Tinder swipes. So, folks, those are some hilarious stories from the world of dating apps that make us think twice before swiping right. Sometimes true love can come from a swipe, but sometimes we get stories that are either hilarious or downright scary. So, for those of you still looking for love on dating apps, be careful. I'm Professor Crazy. Thank you and see you in the next crazy stories.